You know, call me nostalgic, but I've kind of missed Micheal Knowles. You know, there's something reliable and calming about his you know, sort of medically low IQ.
Every week, I get letters into my mailbag, lots of letters into my mailbag saying, I've been hooked on porn since I was 10. It's ruined my life. How do we fix it? So,
Really? So do you get those a lot? Yeah, what did I just hear? He's getting letters from children about porn? What is this? I don't know. We falling for the bait? Girls with erections, new term from the American Academy of Pediatrics. Wow, girls with erections. I mean, what is this? Girls can't have erections. What's an erection for? What's hard? Your clit? Wait, actually, wait, hold on. Do you think he's going to say that? Do you think he's going to say, what is? Can your clit get hard? As though, because he might not know about clitoral erections. Wait, hold on. I actually, if he says that, it'd be very funny.
the American Academy of Pediatrics, which in its new guide on puberty is discussing girls with erections. That's the phrase. They've got a new guide on puberty called Uology, a puberty guide for everybody, targeted toward children ages 9 through 13 years old, explaining how some girls are actually boys and how girls can get erections, and that's totally normal and totally fine. And these people have the audacity to make fun of Christians and Jews and Muslims as superstitious.
Oh, wait, hold on. I thought that liberals didn't make fun of Muslims because they were all too cucked. I thought the narrative was that liberals wouldn't make fun of what basically he's saying believing in trans people is like believing in a god. Yeah, okay. So, yeah.
One thing that this conveys, just on a political point, is that you really can't trust anything these modern leftist medical associations have to say. When they say, you
remember when it used to be like your feelings can't argue with facts, you know, like we know the science. Remember that? It was a period of time, about maybe like 2 or 3 years, where the mainstream conservative talking point was, yeah, we know biology, you only know your crazy social justice talking points. And I think conservatives have basically come to understand that all the medical community disagrees with them. And in response to that, now it's just this full-on, like, cultural Marxist conspiracism, where the left has infiltrated the entire concept of knowledge, and the only thing you can trust is, like, intuition. What was that thing Matt Gaetz said just a little while ago that was leading to some discourse? Oh yeah, the overeducated women bit. That was pretty good. That was a very good bit. He wants you barefoot, pregnant, underage, and with a GED, I suppose. Where was that? Politicians tweet so much. How many of the women rallying against overturning Roe are overeducated, underloved millennials who sadly returned from protests to a lonely microwave dinner with their cats and no Bumble matches? I like this for maybe 17 reasons, which I'll try to list, maybe not in totality, but I'll do my best. First of all, the idea that the insult that he throws out first is overeducated. The funny thing is, like, education doesn't even have anything to do with the premise of this, you know, divide. The abortion debate isn't over education. It's about basic ethical principles. So this is pretty much just like yeah, women need to be pregnant and not get too uppity. Like, that's basically the gist, you know. It really speaks to insecurity as well, because when conservatives say stuff like this, you need to understand that this is nothing more than the politically informed version of guys saying, like, why do girls go out with thugs when they're ignoring nice guys like me? It's essentially like this spiteful lashing out at women, saying that their current, like, you know, decision-making, you know, outcomes are going to lead to them being like unfucked cat ladies. And this is anti-suffrage propaganda going back 100 years, you know? The constant paranoia of men that, like, oh, these women want to vote, they want to be educated. Who's going to love them? They're not going to get any sex. It's like MGTOW logic. Like, they think by folding their arms and saying, well, I wouldn't fuck her, that, like, women will change their minds or something. It's very, very goofy behavior, you know? No wonder he has to pay to fuck underage girls or whatever that was. How is he not in jail? I mean, I know why, but...
You don't believe the science? You don't believe the CDC and the WHO and the American Pediatric Academy and, you know, well, no. If they think that girls can get erections, then I don't trust anything they say because they don't understand the most basic elements of human nature. So no, I don't trust them at all. I trust a random blog I read on the internet much more than I trust these people.
We know.
Because these people are getting something fundamentally wrong that I know for a fact is fundamentally wrong. This is the kind of weirdness that is going to enter into your political society if you reject basic truths. We are going so far down this path.
It's literally just a pamphlet that's about puberty, and it's like, okay, here's something boys have to deal with, but also here's something maybe girls have to deal with, and that's it. It's like, it's just a pamphlet, and it's like, hey, good luck. Because it comes from an academic institution, my guess is that this is for parents. Like, here's how to deal with your hormonal puberty kid or whatever. Okay.
The only way out, I think, is to try to hold on to some grasp of the tradition, some grasp of reality. Someone the other day pointed out that conservatives, they talk about free speech and this, that, and the, all they really want is Christian nationalism. Christian nationalism is a contradiction. I think it was Jen Rubin at the Washington Post. Christian nationalism is in many ways a contradiction in terms because Christianity makes universal claims, lowercase c, Catholic claims about
what?
The world. And so Christian nationalism is a conflicting sort of statement. But regardless, okay, let's use the phrase Christian. What does that mean? American conservatives want Christian standards and Christian traditions in society. And what's the alternative? Pumping 8-year-old boys full of puberty blockers.
It can never be normal with them, you know? Basically, he's like, okay, so let's say we want fascism. Well, what's the alternative? Trans people. This is, if you guys ever like really want to know why they fixate so much on trans people, even though it's like meaningless and doesn't affect their lives in any way, the reason for that, he's basically laying it out here. The reason for that is because truly devoted like Kool-Aid drinkers, like real fash anti-empiricist types, need a core anti-reality belief to hold on to. It has to be something fundamental and to them intuitive. That's the thing they have to hold on to more than anything else, you know? So in the mind of a conservative, fighting to keep women women and men men isn't just some utilitarian argument over whether people would be happier or less happy with different definitions of gender. To them, it is a fundamental existential concept rooted in a divine reality that if torn apart, the entire world shatters. So they hold on to it. And the nice thing about this is that they will hold on to it with the fervor and dedication of crusaders. The kind of crusaders who, thank you very much, well, there's your problem podcast, stupidly charge east across Europe and then starved to death and died of thirst. Because they have no idea what they're doing, you know. The Crusaders were not as effective as it is often claimed they were. Thank you again. Well, there's your problem podcast. Yeah, that was a very good episode. They were, yeah, and they ate each other. Yes, there we go. Some classic Christian cannibalism. Very good, very good. Yeah. Anyway, listen, okay. When in the coming decades, when you see like a rise in conservative terrorism, where they're like suicide bombing gender clinics or whatever, you have to understand the reason why they're doing this is because they think you're in there killing God. They are absolutely insane. Their brains are broken. Conservatism is a mental illness.
That's the alternative? Sign me up for the Christian Nation, please. Hey, where do I get me some of that Christian Nation? Which do you want? If we look back at the actual practical application of these things, I think we're beginning to find out that the people using their unfettered reason, the people using, they're inflicting their will on society to undo everything we've come.
Unfettered reason. Literally. Unfettered, going crazy with being logical. These people, they're just going hog wild with being correct.
That has come before us. Those people are giving us a society that is unrecognizable and ugly and something we don't desire. And now when we've got a little free speech, we're allowed to say it and we're allowed to take our country back. I'm glad you liked that clip. Now,
I didn't. Also boring. Wait, let's get another one. Can we get a better one? State college teaches hardcore porn. Fuck it.
There's a school in Utah, Westminster College, Salt Lake City, Utah. They are right now offering a course on hardcore pornography. This is a private college, not state-sponsored, but it's a private college offering a...
Wait, it's a private institution that teaches to adults because it is a college. Okay? All right.
Course on hardcore porn. This is Gender 3000. So already, you know,
Base.
the course is in
Dude, you could actually put together a banging college course applying gender theory to hardcore porn. You could actually do a lot with that. That is yeah, you could do a lot with that one. 100%. Yeah. That's a senior level course too. Yeah, it's 300. Or is it, did it say 3,000? Whatever.
Gender Studies Department, which means it should be abolished. Because gender studies and all of these sort of critical studies that cropped up in recent decades to give stupid students something that they can study because they weren't able to keep up in the real academic disciplines.
I think this is remarkably telling considering the fact that left-leaning people outperform and outproduce conservatives in all levels of academia in terms of attendance and outcomes, like just consistently in every way. How can you simultaneously believe that like college is a liberal institution that doesn't mean anything, but also believe the most liberal elements of that institution are something put there for like the failing kids or whatever? Look, all I have to say is if gender study courses are for idiots, then conservatism is for fucking retards because they miss the point more consistently than like any other group of people. Like you really don't want to disparage this, okay? You're like don't be like the anime villain who shows up every third episode and keeps telling the hero that they're weak and then losing to the hero, because you're only really hurting yourself there, okay? You want treat gender studies like a powerful enemy, okay?
So you say, okay, we're going to do gender and ethnicity and migration studies, and it's just an education in leftism. And so as long as you say the right political slogans, you can get a good grade and you can graduate. It was a way to give the left an even stronger foothold in education. So the minute you see gender,
it's kind of another way of saying that the foundation of leftism is just academic rigor.
Studies, you think, okay, never mind. This should get rid of this. As long as we're fixing standards here, just abolish this whole department, turn it into a library or something. In any case, the Gender 3 Studies course is called Porn. And here's the description. Hardcore pornography is as American as apple pie and more popular than Sunday Night Football. Our approach to this billion-dollar industry is as both a cultural phenomenon that reflects and reinforces sexual inequalities, but holds the potential to challenge sexual and gender norms, and as an art form that requires serious contemplation. We will watch pornographic films together and discuss the sexualization of race, class, and gender as an experimental radical art form. This is a very bad idea.
I would do great in this class, okay? I'm ready to analyze the pornography.
It's very harmful to students' education. This should not be permitted at any college.
They're adults. It's a senior level class for adults. What do you? These people are in their 20s. They don't have to sign up for it. They choose to. They choose to sign up for that class.
University in the country. This is extremely obscene. This appeals primarily to the prurient interest. And it is...
Remember, underneath all of the libertarian bullshit they claim to care about, like him in the last video saying he cares about free speech, at the end of the day, they are authoritarians and they can never be anything else. We're literally talking about a private institution in which adults can consensually sign up for a course in order to access material which they legally could access when they turned 18, and practically speaking, probably started accessing when they were 13 or 14, at least if we're speaking from my experience. So, yeah, this is obscene. This is damaging for them. Well, then they could just not sign up for it. Like, they just... Like, and like, I just want to know, like, the guy who is very susceptible to being corrupted by pornography, but has to take $8,000 college course to see it in a room with 30 other students rather than Googling it on his computer. Like, this is very obscene. What if through some incredible, strange series of of developments, a person had never seen porn, but also agreed to go to a private college. Okay.
Is not protected by free speech. In the American tradition, this class would have no free speech protection, no First Amendment protection. Why? It's not because pornography.
This is not true. I think they're talking about obscenity, but I think I think the difference, they're talking about obscenity laws here, but I think the difference here is between whether something can be distinguished as obscenity in a way which would prevent you from revealing it publicly, as opposed to the right to sue a private institution because it has whatever it is, the school's fine, and he doesn't believe in free speech. Okay, he literally has yet to state something harmful. Oh, he's not going to either. They never do.
Pornography is not a worthwhile phenomenon to discuss. It is. It's a huge problem in America. It's a major political problem. We don't really talk about it enough. It's destroying the lives of especially a lot of young men. How many times?
It's a college course. Nobody's going to get pornography addiction from being in a classroom, like getting tested on the sociological analysis of pornography. If they were going to get porn addiction, it would be from the porn they can watch in their computer.
Every week, I get letters into my mailbag, lots of letters into my mailbag saying, I've been hooked on porn since I was 10. It's ruined my life. How do we fix it? So,
really? Is that, do you get those a lot? Is that just unprompted mailbag? Like real, actual snail mail? Like people are writing letters. Not, Sir Knowles, not a day has gone by where I've not come at least 8 times from this lecherous debauchery. Yeah, what did I just hear? He's getting letters from children about porn? What is this? I don't know.
I think the conversation is really important to have. I think it's really important to study how pornography was mainstreamed into America, how legal prohibitions against it were overturned. That's a...
Are we just done pretending to be pro-free speech? I think we need... Okay.
Really interesting conversation. But that's not what this class does. This class involves sitting down with boys and girls and the teacher.
I love that. These kids in their 20s, boys and girls, as it, like, they don't separate the... Yeah, it's men and women. They don't separate the two. Like it's a fucking Orthodox church or some shit.
Watching this stuff. Well, that's very different. It'd be like taking a class on crystal meth.
Dude, the funniest thing about this shit is that you know all of these guys, all these like big conservative grifter types, are either like wherever the next Epstein Island is, because you know they didn't just like let that industry die, right? Like, you know Epstein died, and the moment he died, some other guy stepped up to the plate. Like, they're either spending every second they have like railing kids on some island, or like wishing they were one of the guys who could. These people are degenerates, you know? All you have to do, it's a joke. All the prostitutes around DC, you know, all of them have been to the political parties. It's a whole thing. Like, I'm pretty sure the only reason we don't get more stories out of prostitutes in DC is because they know they're not going to get follow-up work if it turns out they're the one who leaked. Like, the moment a prostitute in DC tells a story to the press, they're blacklisted because everyone will know it was them, because all the politicians will think, well, only that prostitute was in the position to believe that there were 8 children at that party, and that we had meth and cocaine, but not the Adderall bucket. She didn't see the Adderall bucket, so it couldn't have been Stacy. It had to be, like, they're gonna, like, coordinate stories and shit, you know? And it will never stop amusing me, especially in the wake of this Madison Cawthorn shit, Or Madison Cawthorn's like, I am a very anti-degenerate, very serious tradcon whose fight for America first will never assuage me. And then, like, here's him in femboy outfit 1. And he's like, okay, I'm not letting this take me down. And then there's like, he's like face fucking some college guy on a bed while moaning like a wet walrus or something. And he's like, my commitment remains pure. It's like, we know these guys are cocaine parties. Was it his cousin? Was it actually his cousin, or was he making that up? Was it actually the cousin? It was his cousin? Okay. Whatever. What state is he from? Don't be ableist. Is he from the fucking South or something? North Carolina? It's not really... That's not far south enough to make the incest jokes. I don't know.
And cocaine and hardcore narcotics. You could take a class on that in chemistry.
Wait, there literally are classes on, like, the drug war, aren't there? In, like, criminology and stuff? Yeah, okay.
Instance, and talk about these drugs and what they do and their effects, and you could even have a policy discussion on whether or not they should be legal or regulated. That class would be perfectly fine. But the minute that the class says, okay, and as part of your final exam, you're all going to do a bunch of crystal and tell me how it feels.
That's exactly like it. You can tell this is a guy, very normal opinions on sex, because to him, doing a fuck ton of meth is exactly like seeing titties bouncing on a screen. These are exactly the same things to him. They would have the same effect on him too, you know? His pupils would widen, he'd start spazzing out and fucking flipping out in the ground and shit. You know, it's completely...
You're all gonna blow...
He 100% believes they're all coming to the porn. Oh, I'm sure, yeah. I'm sure he does, yeah.
Bunch of lines of coke, smoke a pipe of crack, and tell me how it feels. That's a very different thing. And
wait, they're not doing that in the class, though. They're not showing you a 2-hour-long uninterrupted fucking blacked video or bang bus and like having you jerk off and going like, okay, how many times did you come, class? Like, he probably does think that's what they're doing. I shouldn't take this away from him.
And that's what this porn class is doing, because the way that you use crack cocaine is by smoking it.
Why'd you think of blacked first? Because I was browsing 4chan the other day, and that's all the pull-tards will consume. Seriously, all you have to do, 10 seconds on pull, okay, and you see black dick. They cannot get their minds off of it.
The way that you use heroin is by injecting it. The way that you use pornography is by watching it. The very act of watching pornography is what destroys that sort of academic environment. Because when you watch porn, it's the same reason that you shouldn't be doing these kind of hardcore drugs. When you watch pornography, you are not appealing to your rational faculties. You're not appealing to your intellect. You're not appealing to your rational will. You're losing control of that because you're appealing to the appetite.
Wouldn't that mean you could never have a culinary class? Because when you're eating food to determine the quality of its construction, you would be literally appealing to your appetite, and therefore it's irrational. Like, the desire to eat and the sort of mechanical and biological incentive we have to eat is stronger than the one we have to reproduce. We die without eating. Would that mean, like, can we not do, like, film analysis? Because films are literally meant to, like, grab our emotions? Like, what? This is incredibly fucking dumb. This is retarded, yeah. I hate this old school ethics shit. This is like watching, like, Dare shit from the 1990s, you know? When they're like, this is what they call the devil's lettuce, or you know, the green Satan, or marijuana. Here's a man who smoked it, and they show like some fucking dude who got beheaded by the cartel or whatever. That's what happened to him, you know?
If you watch a lot of porn, if you do a lot of drugs, if you drink too much, if you do things that are in the indulgence of your vices, you are going to lose your higher will. You're going to weaken your rational faculties.
I hate being a utilitarian because I feel like it's such a waste of time to have a consistent ethical theory when your opponents are all monkeys banging rocks against their own head. You see, I've arbitrarily defined this set of things that I have a religiously oriented dislike towards as vices. And also, because you get emotional about these things, but not all these other things that I don't think are vices, it's actually bad to look at that. Like, God, it's just like, okay, yeah, you know. This is like the consequence of Ben Shapiro's popularity. Because Ben Shapiro is this retarded. The only difference between this and Ben Shapiro is that Ben talks faster and he loads more logical preconceptions before arriving at his completely arbitrary bullshit, you know? Like, Micheal Knowles is stupid, so he'll just go, this is bad because it's degenerate. But Ben Shapiro will go, this is bad because it's a violation of this, and because it incentivizes this behavior, and that's bad because it's degenerate. That's the only difference, really. He just loads more steps before the grand finale where he reveals that it was his Judeo-Christian values. Like, oh god, have you seen this shit about Ben Shapiro being like super anti-abortion when the Torah and the Hadith are like literally not Hadith, the fucking Jewish Bible or whatever is literally pro-abortion. Like the Talmud, thank you. The Hadith is Muslim. Yeah, the Talmud, thank you. Yeah, the Torah and the Talmud. Where it's not just permissive of abortion, it's actively pro-choice, you know? Islam is pro-abortion too. Yeah, and you know what? The Christian Bible gives you instructions on having an abortion as well, doesn't it? The Christian Bible doesn't define a life by conception. It defines it by first breath. It has an instruction on how to do abortions. Yeah, the bitter waters. All three of the Abrahamic faiths are explicitly pro-choice. And they were pro-choice 2,000 years ago. Well, Christianity 2,000-ish, Jewish 4,000-ish, Islam 600-ish. There's some variety there. But they were all in their own way, in their own very regressive, ancient, religious way. I don't know. I'm not a religious historian. Yeah, okay, 1400-ish, thank you. I couldn't remember if it was 500 years old or if it was 500 AD. Whatever. The point is, all of the Abrahamic faiths, in their holy texts, are, like, unambiguously pro-choice. I don't think any of them define life by conception, because they didn't even know what conception was. They didn't know. You'd think if there's such a big deal, you'd think God would have written that down somewhere. Or at least like by the first belly bump or something, like no harm may be done. But nope, it's not in the holy texts, Whatever.
And that's not a very good thing. Unfortunately, that's what our society has become. I know that we always talk about 1984 by George Orwell as though that were the description of the society we're living in. There's censorship. There's an increasingly totalitarian form of government. Yeah, sure. Actually, the way that the establishment controls
this entire segment has been him saying we need to restrict freedom of speech and ban certain academic departments because I disagree politically with their outcomes. That's literally the segment we're on right now. Okay. Right.
The American people is much more like Brave New World by Aldous Huxley than 1984 by George Orwell.
He's not read either of these, I'm willing to bet.
Huxley...
He's going to say it controls their choice. Yeah, this is what they always do. They're like, actually, don't mind us while we fervently try to pass legislation to restrict your rights. The real authoritarianism is the left giving you rights, which will actually make your life worse somehow.
Who was Orwell's French teacher, I believe, actually wrote a letter to him to this effect and said, George, it's a good book that you wrote, but my version of it is more accurate as to how political elites actually gain power. They don't do it by just smacking you with a stick. They don't do it by beating you into submission. They usually do it by appealing to your desires.
I like how he hasn't read 1984. 1984 isn't just about the leaders bashing you with a stick. That's not how the system of control works in 1984. It's about the control of information first and foremost, which is what he's advocating for in this video. He is explicitly advocating for the social structure that, okay.
By appealing to your appetites and your lusts. They do it by promoting drugs, by promoting promiscuous sex, by destroying the family. By which is more, when you look at those two visions of a dystopian society, which seems more correct? The absolute, rigid, transparent party program that has...
Transparent? The transparent party program of Oceania? Ah, yes, I remember that in 1984 when everything was very clear. No, he hasn't read it.
All of these very strict rules that you've got.
No, he's talking about Brave New World. No, wasn't he talking about 1984 that first time?
When you look at those two visions of a dystopian society, Which seems more correct? The absolute, rigid, transparent party program that has all of these very strict rules that you've got to follow? Or...
Yeah, he's talking about 1984 right there. The transparent party program. Yes, 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 of course. The Party of Oceania, the inner party, was remarkably transparent about its structure. Thank you.
Or a society of licentiousness and hedonism that tells you if it feels good, do it. Obviously, it's the latter. That's the way the society is decaying, and that's not only is...
Oh, so by the way, I've never read Brave New World. However, isn't it interesting how he's not actually describing how the Brave New World society is authoritarian? Like, he just did with 1984, you know, an autocratic, direct, rule-following program. But he's not actually saying anything negative about the society in Brave New World. All he's saying is that they're hedonistic and degenerate or whatever, but he's not explaining how that contributes to the authoritarianism. He's not even describing the book Brave New World. I mean, there's no reason to trust his assessment. Again, I haven't read it, so I can't make any prescriptions, but yeah.
Is that a function of the really decayed aspects of popular culture? That's now what's literally being taught.
He's inferring the degeneracy is the bad part. Well, it is. To him, you think this guy gives a shit about authoritarianism? It's like the degeneracy is what they care about, you know?
In universities, the purpose of which is to do the opposite. The purpose of which is to give you a liberal education and teach you how to make sense of your freedom. I'm so glad.
Nice. God, he's stupid. I'm really mad that he pussied out of talking to me, because I responded to one of his tweets a while ago, and his manager DM'd me, and said we can maybe set something up. I should follow up with that. I should send another DM. I think it'd be fun. Because, like, this guy's like wet toilet paper, right? Like, you know, it feel like, yeah, easy to shred. You know, nice and relaxing. All right, get this guy out of my face. Get him out. It's not even fun to tear into. He's just stupid and wrong. Matt Walsh is about as stupid. He's just kind of more overtly evil. I don't know. Nah, it feels like doing two. We got two guys. Imagine doing two guys in a row. Couldn't be me. That was a sex joke. Because get it? It was a double entendre. Doing is in covering the content of, but also how. Yeah. Okay. Had a couple of things logged in here.